Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for sparing time from your busy schedules and participating in this very topical webinar on offline to online to offline transformation. With global retail sales expected to reach 27 trillion US dollars and e-commerce sales to top 4 trillion US dollars in 2020, omnipresence is no more an option for retailers and e-tailers. It is an immediate imperative. In an attempt to establish multiple touch points for customers, brick and mortar retailers are going online, and at the same time, online brands are going offline. In this webinar, experts will discuss how offline to offline transformation throws up multiple collaboration opportunities and new avenues for revenues for the entire ecosystem. Allow me to introduce our panelists. We have with us Mr. Vijay Talreja, co-founder Adaptee. Vijay works with global retailers in helping them establish and scale their e-commerce business. Awarded as a winner of the top 25 most influential e-commerce professionals of India by CMO Asia, Vijay is an advisor and investor to a bunch of startups. He is also a charter member of TiE Mumbai and an active member of angel investing platforms like Let's Venture and Our Ventures. We also have with us Ms. Gayatri Gogate, Senior VP Retail, Nykaa. Gayatri is experienced in business development, marketing strategy, and brand management. She has a strong knack for utilizing analytics, insights, and adopting best practices to drive organizational goals. She has been a visiting faculty at Nasi Monji Institute of Management Studies and has an MBA from the University of Pune. Let me also introduce you to Mr. Amit Bhagat, CTO EasyMall.com, which is an e-commerce venture of the SL Group. Amit is experienced in developing product strategies, scaling technology infrastructures, engineering capacity building, budgeting, and executing global transformation programs for leading enterprises. He has a master's degree in computer applications from UP Technical University and a PG diploma in business administration from Symbiosis Institute, Pune. Last but not the least, we have with us Mr. Venkat Not, CEO, Vinculum Group. Venkat is experienced in creating startups and building them into successful global companies. He is passionate about creating high-power teams and SaaS-based path-breaking software products. He holds a degree in engineering from NIT Calicut and an MBA from IIM Bangalore. At Vinculum, he focuses on corporate strategy and global business development. So without any more delay, I would like to ask Mr. Venkat Not to deliver his presentation. Over to you, Mr. Venkat.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I think the introductions have been done, but quickly we will just, each of us will just introduce a little bit about the background and the company which we are representing. Sure. Okay. So I'll go first briefly. Vinculum is in the business of creating software, SaaS-based software. We are helping companies through our multi-channel order management and fulfillment software. We have solutions which encompass all the building blocks of a marketplace, and we work with retailers and brands to help them sell across multiple channels, and we actually have integrations to marketplaces and logistics companies across many countries. Globally, about 30 plus marketplaces and 50 plus logistics companies and cross-border shipping platforms as well. Through this, we are enabling companies and retailers and brands to sell across channels, have a consistent view of inventory across the enterprise, and also are able to sell across multiple geographies. Without too much discussion further there, I'll jump on to Gayatri. Gayatri, could you just briefly introduce yourself in terms of your role in Nykaa and just about the journey with Nykaa very briefly? We'll come back to more detailed discussion on the Nykaa story. We'll go with Vijay. Vijay, could you talk to us about what Adaptee does?
Sure.
Yeah.
So hi, this is Vijay Talreja. I'm the co-founder of Adaptee. We are a leading digital commerce company, primarily doing a lot of enterprise e-commerce solutions for retailers across the globe. Headquartered of the US. We work with some major retail brands like the likes of Walmart, Dow Jones, and some of the leading luxury brands who are still our clients. We've been around in this business for more than 10 years, done some very successful implementations of enterprise e-commerce. We work on platforms like Oracle Commerce, Salesforce Demandware, Magento, and now also getting into B2B. Just from a personal note perspective, I've been in the industry for more than 2 decades, very passionate about startups, and I do, in my capacity, help e-commerce startups and some of the others to scale up. Clearly from an Adaptee perspective, we're doing some work in US, and we're also looking at scaling up our business in Asia. So we're very happy to be here with talking to you guys.
Thanks, Vijay. Ahmed?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm part of EasyMall.com. It's a new venture, startup venture from SL Group. Right now, we are working on a new concept of video e-commerce, which is very new in India and pretty much at initial stages. And we are trying to take a first step towards offline commerce also.
See, in terms of customers today don't care really about channels. They shop online, they shop offline, they shop across mobiles.
Yeah.
So customers want the opportunity to be able to shop the way they feel most convenient.
You're right.
Right? And when we look really about what's happening between possibly the customers of the past and customers today, today customers want many payment options. They want the opportunity to look up inventory before they visit a store.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that the product that they're looking for is available in the store.
Yeah.
They want to be able to research options before they go, and then change their mind and say that I would like to return it.
Yeah.
And they want ease in returning as well.
In fact, they want to feel the product also sometimes.
They want to feel the product as well.
And they want it at that time only.
So when we look at the online side of the online channels, let's say marketplaces or pure online retailers, what do we see? Means the touch factor is missing there.
Yeah.
But then the volume is there. Now, what do you see? Do you think it is right for online retailers to set up stores the way offline retailers have gone about business, or do you see the trend as different? What are your takes on it?
Yeah.
What's happening in the market?
So we've done a lot of research, right? As I told you while we were launching this startup, we have done a lot of research on white spaces across the industry right now. What's happening? So clear white spaces are right now. It is more of an image-based shopping, right? You're not able to know more about the product. Plus, it is very discount-led today, right? Which means that because it's online and people are not able to basically have that same experience, e-commerce sites are basically provoked to go for a discount-led e-commerce, right? To attract more customers towards them. They're not finding any other way, actually, right? Plus, from a retailer perspective, there are a lot of challenges these retailers are also facing, e-commerce. COD is a big problem in India today, right?
25%, I think.
I think more than that.
More than
65
that,
to
actually.
70%.
More than that,
Yeah, and the whole logistics piece, this whole ecosystem is really bad in a really bad situation today. So any e-commerce, there is a concept called RTO, where is return to origin. People order and then they cancel when they receive it, right? It is different from return, which is around 10 to 15%. And while this whole things are happening, products also get damaged during that time, right? So these are clearly the white spaces. When it comes to offline, all these white spaces which I just told you automatically goes off, right? Plus,
but it is not one channel over the other. Okay, so even though there are stores, customers would still like to receive deliveries at home.
Yeah, sure.
I would still want to maybe receive it in my office.
Sure.
Right. So the problems don't go away.
Yeah. So pros and cons of both the approaches, but if all retailers can come with both the options, nothing like it. That's what I'm trying to tell.
You should be able to get it at home and then should take it back from office to it. So even a change in address sometimes can create a lot of
Yeah.
problems.
So just coming back to that, clearly the customers require you to be present in across multiple
Multiple
channels.
channels, right.
Right. So which means that you're really looking at a situation where you are able to offer the products through multiple devices,
Right.
like mobiles, right? Maybe the case is for you to create a specific app.
Yeah.
You are looking at creating online channel,
Yeah.
and the online players are looking at creating smaller stores,
You're right.
right? So which essentially is the touch factor. But we are also seeing some interesting other angles there. We are also looking at marketplaces creating, the option to have a trial area in the store kind
Right.
of thing, where
You're
you can
right.
actually go and touch and feel the products.
Yeah.
So that's another aspect, right? So that's again to create the touch factor.
Yeah.
Now, where do you see the industry progressing?
So naturally, somewhere everybody is trying to converge, right? By virtual trial rooms, people want
Yeah.
the same customer experience to come in, and there are a lot of other things, right? Around. So we are trying to basically demonstrate products via video, right? So everybody wants to just converge and bring the same old experience of offline on online, actually.
But
Right.
also, what's happening is I think the whole concept of buy anywhere, deliver anywhere, and now it's also customers saying, I want to do something which, it's beyond omni-channel, right?
Yeah.
I think it's far beyond saying that okay, now I buy from here and go pick up some store, but a customer, I like the way we put it at the heart of it, right? The customer is so centric now that he is absolutely demanding that while I buy from here, I deliver here, I can return anywhere.
Yeah.
I should also have an experience where I can actually go look at the product, buy it, and maybe change it over there.
Yeah.
So, in terms of expectations, I like the slide saying, I need everything now. And I don't think retailers are going anywhere not addressing this. I mean, I think there are many retailers who are very, very smartly playing around this, innovating
I'd
around
like to
omnichannel.
understand your experience in terms of you worked with a variety of retailers
Yeah.
in the US.
International, yeah.
And if we take Vitamin Shopee, with whom you guys work, walk us through the process of what you implemented for them. Now, I do have some
Yeah, I do
related
have a
question
slide.
here.
Okay.
Means customers may want all kinds of things, but who pays for it? Is it profitable for retailers to invest in omni-channel systems? Does the supply chain costs come down? How do you do it? Because there is a cost associated with this.
Right.
So, and the related question would be build versus buy, right? But let's first talk about Vitamin Shopee.
Yeah, I think we do have a slide there. So we can maybe when we get there,
Yeah.
I will tell you how it has actually impacted,
Okay, fair enough.
right?
Man.
But yeah, I think just to answer in very short words, omnichannel as a channel has always existed. I think it's very important for retailers to understand how do you really leverage on that, right? How do you understand, how do you make sure that it impacts your top line and bottom line? How do you make sure that there are processes and solutions that are tightly coupled together, that are built together and are talking to it very, very seamlessly to be able to give you that operational benefit, to be able to give you the scale that you need today. I think it's very important from a solution standpoint to come to that point and say, oh, you know what, I'm looking at something which is beyond omnichannel. It's a unified commerce solution. So, yeah, I think I'll talk more about it when we get to the story there.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, that's exactly what I was talking about, right? So, unified e-commerce solution, and I think there is clearly a handshake between Viniclum and Adaptee, where we've now partnered to create a e-commerce ecosystem enabler. Clearly, I think when we realized the strength of our products, we said, oh, you know what, our products are actually meant to talk to each other so well. And if we are able to bring them to fore and we are able to actually deliver a complete solution, which is beyond just saying omni-channel, but actually being able to say these are products which are very tightly coupled together, and you are able to do a very quick implementation, you are able to then give it to retailers at
Alex.
a much economical price,
I'll-
and hence you are able to plug in solutions.
I'll explain a bit there. Of course, where we come from is that we have integrations to the marketplaces,
Yeah.
logistics companies, and
Yeah.
also to front-end platforms. Now, where interesting what Adapty has done is they've taken the Magento store and then they have essentially created a product called Thycart, which kind of takes away 80% of the Magento implementation, let's say.
Okay.
Right? So, which essentially means that even the front end, you boom very quickly. You can get the site ready. And instead of finding experts to sit down and develop, even though Magento or Shopify kind of products are free, you still have to implement them.
Yeah.
So there is time and cost associated with that. What Adapty has done is to create a method to speed that up completely. Am I right? Vijay?
Absolutely. We've actually
So-
built a whole wrapper around it because just standalone solutions don't talk to each other. So we built our whole wrapper around it, and as a solution, which is much higher performing, an enterprise class solution. Which is why when we go to retailer, we said, tomorrow you may not need to even migrate to a solution because what we are giving you today is an enterprise class solution. And if you are able to build on it, this is exactly what you need to scale tomorrow. So yeah, I think
That's interesting, Vijay. As the partnership grows, I'm sure many retailers will benefit from
Sure.
the fast front-end implementation as well.
Yeah.
through
So
you.
for a retailer, time to market today is the most important thing, right? Till the time you're born, if you're not born very quickly, after some time you will realize that you are already vanished, right? So these kind of solutions surely help a lot for a lot of startups or new implementations
Oh, yeah,
to
we've actually
quickly
tried-
get off the
I'll
ground.
ask you a related question there again. Today, Mansi, I think most e-tailers, marketplaces have jumped in to find tools in the market and quickly implement them to go live.
Yeah.
And gone are the days of the 12-month, 9-month
Yeah.
implementations. We talk of 9 days, 6 weeks, 3 weeks. So the timeline has been crunched.
Yeah.
So where do you see, what would you recommend for the retailers who have a lot of infrastructure which have already been set up for their offline world when they are going online? Would you still go with a license-based enterprise products which will talk to their offline systems, or would you build them, or would you look for SaaS-based solutions to be able to integrate? I know that I'm asking it from the retailer perspective, but you have seen different
Yeah.
parts of.
See, if you want to take a half-hearted approach towards omnichannel experience, the first option which you told, continue with the old one and build an online solution, right? That's a half-hearted approach. If you want to really be a totally true omni-channel player, right, then you have to basically build and basically change everything right from the bottom, right?
So you're saying even the offline systems need to change?
Probably we can build a strategy around it, right? We can divide them into different layers. Let's say system of records like HR system, financial systems. They can remain same, right? And then there are system of differentiators, which is order management system, warehousing management system, right? There basically we can take a call, build or buy, right? But today in retail and commerce, there are so many solutions available. We'll be fools to again
Build it.
build it, right?
And because again, it's going to take time.
Yeah,
When you build it,
yeah,
you again go back to the classic 9-12 month model, right?
yeah,
Which you don't really have time to do.
right.
But the challenge there, of course, is from an enterprise system. You're talking to, like you said, you can't. I don't think you can go and change the enterprise systems. There are a lot of money, time invested,
You're right.
a lot of training which has been done as well.
Right.
People are comfortable. So we need to be able to move into a stage where there are products which easily integrate
Yeah.
into the enterprise systems.
Yeah.
Right. So that's
which is
something.
which is where you need companies like us who are actually specialized in doing these kind of integrations and be able to customize and roll it out for you. So I think Gayatri is pinging us, right? So Gayatri, are you on?
I am. I don't know if you can hear me though.
Oh yeah, loud and clear. Welcome.
Wow, finally. Okay, great. I was
So
actually.
Gayatri, Now, I think we will come back to you in terms of some questions back. We were just discussing about what does it take for a retailer to successfully go through the omnichannel journey. Okay, so we're coming in from the brick and mortar first. We will come to you next.
Sure.
Okay. So just on that question, so you would say build is out, and the second part of the question was cloud versus license-based products.
So build is
Sorry.
not, by the way, build is completely not out. Let's say for 10%, where system of innovations are there,
Yeah.
which are new ideas, right? You want to build your app.
No,
Which is-
you can't buy a cloud-based product for Grab,
Yeah.
right? Or a
Right. Interestingly, there are a lot of products today where there are newer ideas, innovative ideas, but still you can, implement it.
But yeah,
Let's say,
this is exactly where the cloud commerce is playing a much bigger role.
yeah.
I think the play from SaaS, right? So from on-prem it went to SaaS, and now I think we are finding a space which is more of cloud commerce, right?
You're right.
I think that's a very sweet spot for retailers and for companies to actually invest in, because it gives you a power of cloud, and it gives you a power to customize and not really be stuck with template style of commerce, So I think it's clearly the shift is happening, and we're seeing that,
Yeah.
But I'll again ask you the question. I'm sorry if I'm pushing the paper a bit too hard here, but licensed products versus cloud products. Do you have a view?
Cloud products.
Cloud products, why?
Yeah. Because overall TCO basically gets reduced as far as I've basically noticed. So I've worked in multiple companies. Cloud services have come a long way. It helps us to scale very fast, right? So I don't have to worry about scaling also, right? And scale is there. I get a lot of functionalities which is out of the box. I don't need to worry about it, right? As a product manager, basically I'm heading the product management team as well in my company. So there's very less pressure on what all features I need to build or think about it. They're already there in those systems, right? Best practices are already implemented. If I have to implement new processes, it's already there in the systems.
And
right?
most of the license-based products are possibly a few years old as well.
You're right.
And
right.
which means the technology stack is a bit old.
Yeah, and basically these companies also.
Very reputed, mind you.
Yeah, no problems. But then,
So-
but then
No, but you
all
know,
these
it's
companies basically are continuing supporting those products. They are changing their strategy.
Yes,
So all these products are going out of shelf now.
So
right?
there are-
But
There's a lot of these
they're coming
companies
out
which
with
are-
cloud versions, they're making acquisitions.
You're right.
Yeah, so
You're right.
which essentially tells us what they're thinking too.
You're right.
In my view, if I look, without naming one of the big three, all their acquisitions are cloud-based products.
You're right.
And it's very clear
Clear.
what their thinking is.
Yeah.
I think
So,
it's very
I'll
evident,
actually-
right, where the market is moving, and I think all these big products that you're talking about, they pretty much know what people are asking for, right? So
I think that's the biggest point, right? What you mentioned, the ability to risk things quickly.
Yeah.
You can make mistakes, correct them
You're
very
right.
quickly.
Yeah, that is
Bec-
also one point which I missed probably. It helps us to fail fast.
Yeah,
right? I can
because-
do a lot of experiments.
And you have to, because the whole thing about a startup is that you have to learn multiple models, multiple things that you do, and some of them don't work. You have to have the ability to change.
You're right.
So I think that those are things which move it towards a cloud-based products. Now, Gayatri, I'll come to you. We would like to know about why Nykaa is setting up stores across the country. What are the plans? And how has been your journey over the last 2 years?
So, I guess, like everybody's talking, omnichannel is pretty much a reality today. And the truth is that the consumer keeps seeking newer platforms to work with or to go to. And it's important for a brand to succeed that they are fulfilling the consumer requirements and expectations. More importantly, I think, and even data will tell you that while e-commerce is growing at an extremely fast rate, consumers seek physical experiences, and that is extremely important. So I remember one of the recent surveys, I think that Ipsos had done, mentioned that at least 54% consumers have come back saying they would like to shop and experience in physical stores. And the truth about beauty is that you like to try, you like to test. And therefore, it's extremely important that you take those trial experiences to the consumers where they want to be and where they are going to be. So while mobility, internet, online ordering, and on e-commerce is a huge business, I think it's important, and the organization sees that it's needed to consolidate the whole business into delivering into the customer accessibility. So given that, opening up retail spaces is important. We believe that retail spaces allow for trials, retail spaces allow for consumers to come in, experience the product. Retail spaces allow for consumers to experience learning. Not only that, it allows us to talk about our e-commerce presence and allows us to engage the consumers back into an e-commerce channel as well.
And you have set up how many stores over the last 2 years? Walk us through that journey and what are the plans of Nykaa?
So it's been less than 2 years actually. We started our retail expansions towards end of last year, so it's barely been about 12 to 18 months of retail expansion. We are at present at 5 stores, and the whole idea was to actually set up and learn, because we believe that it's easier to correct 5 mistakes. Unlike retail requires a lot of investments, retail requires a lot of learning. So you could open stores one after the other, but then correcting them, making changes takes a while, and it takes a while to take effect as well. So we opened 3 stores, and now we are on a very speedy expansion or growth process. So as we speak, we are looking at 5 stores coming up in the next 60 days. So we'll be at, by end of September, there'll be 10 Nykaa stores across the country, 3 in Bombay, 2 in Delhi, 1 in Amritsar, 1 in Bangalore, 1 in Pune. So I think by the end of this year, we'll be looking at 18 stores. And we are looking at about 40 to 60 stores at least in the next 3 years.
That's awesome, Gayatri, and good luck with that expansion. I think customers would love to shop from as many stores as possible from
We
Nykaa.
do think that, yes, because consumers are very, very responsive to offline business, and then it's easier for us to move them back into an online transaction.
And tell me a little bit about what are the challenges from a technology stack, from a people kind of and their experiences kind of thing. Did you have to do something very different?
So unlike a typical retail setup, which is a retail focus, Nykaa is driven by e-commerce, and that's the core of our business. And if you look at the retail to e-commerce percentages worldwide, you'd see that e-commerce contributes to about 15% of the entire retail space. But if online player starts going into retail, that's going to be the exact opposite, probably even lower. So I think most importantly, it takes an open mind and the organization to be geared to the fact that we want to start retail expansion. And once you're geared to that direction, then everything kind of comes together. You hire a kind of people, but you kind of leverage from what you have. So I think we have managed to beautifully leverage the technology that Nykaa.com builds. And you guys have been partnering us on that to build it into the retail system so that the consumer gets a unified experience wherever they go.
So no, that's correct. It's been a wonderful experience for Vinculum to work with Nykaa on both the offline and online expansion. And I would like to come back to just talk a bit on the people-less stores.
Yeah.
Amazon Go, Alibaba's new stores which have come up in China.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts on it? There's a fascinating new world out there.
Yeah, so basically these are the new age things which are happening today, and pretty much everybody is, I think, pretty much looking forward to it, right? That's the next level of shopping experience which these people are designing, right? Fantastic tech overall installed across each and every small thing in a store, right? So I'm like very excited to see these kind of stuff in retail.
See, I mean, I wish I could have played the video here, but the whole experience of integrating it to the wallet, and once you're a user in Amazon, you just get into the shop,
Sure.
and your shopping preferences are already there,
Yeah.
and they even have your checklists
Yeah.
all put down there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's kind of some of this can redefine all the original thoughts that we have in terms of offline retail being very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take the people out, that story may not be true again.
You're right.
Maybe very different.
Yeah.
So I think.
And see, from a convenience perspective, as you can see on the screen, no lines, no checkout. These are the pain areas of an offline store, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I mean, it's probably everybody knows how many orders get abandoned at checkout.
you're right.
I mean, now you're talking about a situation where there is no checkout.
When will we see a paperless store in India?
Yeah.
I think
Hopefully
it's
soon.
Yeah, I don't think it will be
3 years? 4 years?
2 to 3 years.
We should see it in 3 years.
Yeah, yeah.
isn't
Hopefully
it?
sooner than
Yeah.
We will all be proven wrong, I guess. Any views on that, Gayatri? Your thoughts?
I would love to see something like an Amazon happening in India, but I do believe it will be a while. I do believe it will be a while before we see a completely paperless store in India.
No, I understand. No, it'll be interesting. Now, just touching back on the retailers going online. Well, we're seeing a wide variety of companies in India as well, embarking on an omni-channel journey. And one of the things that retailers seem to be doing is in Asia, not just in India, that they're looking at selling on marketplaces as a
You're right.
logical way to increase sales, to understand the operations and processes better by essentially quickly finding ways to do wrong things, right?
You're right.
So, yeah, something you want to talk a bit on that?
Yeah, so basically, we're a startup, online marketplace. We'll be on TV with a video content, but we are also planning to launch our own brands pretty soon, and our own brands will be launched on multiple marketplaces as well, right? So it's just that because you can drive traffic through online marketplaces, it's our own brand, so you have good amount of margins there, right? And it's just that out of the box thinking that, right? And it's an omni-channel. Your products are available across all the channels,
Yeah.
all the marketplaces, your site, on television, probably offline tomorrow, right? So
But what do you think if there's a retailer who's launching a new brand?
mhm.
What should they focus on? Should they be building their brands, or should they be actually looking at selling on marketplaces? I mean, there are a lot of retailers that I'm having conversations, and they want business, but they also understand there is a brand that needs to be built.
Yeah, for long-
Because that's a long game, right?
Yeah, you are right. So, yeah, you basically just took
And
my
I think that's the
words.
reason why EasyMall kind of companies are coming. So you're
Right.
curating content so that you can actually work with the brand through the journey. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
You're right.
So you're looking for brands which can actually leverage the platform that you're creating across
Sure.
TV, across online, and across other channels
You never
to
know.
build a brand.
You're right.
Yeah.
You never know. Basically EasyMall will launch, let's say, the biggest BMW car in India tomorrow.
Why not? Why
But
not?
then,
No, I'm
but then
saying
the BMW should be known BMW
You're
because
right.
BMW as a brand
You're
should be
right.
existing.
You're right.
So the whole point here is that as a brand, you still need to establish yourself. You've
You're
got to
right.
have your own store, you've got to have your own web store, but then you should also be integrated with marketplaces
Marketplaces for sure.
that should be able to drive business. You know?
some of the things we are doing is essentially to automate the listing process so that a single image can go into multiple marketplaces.
Yeah.
We are actually working with a variety of brands on helping them sell across different geographies. So this is quite interesting as the market is shaping
In
further.
fact, we invested in Vinculum because of these reasons only. Because Vinculum was already connected to a lot of marketplaces across the globe. Plus, it is already connected to all the logistics players, right? So these are pain areas,
points, obviously.
pain areas of any technology e-commerce department, right? Connecting to so many logistics players, building things from scratch.
And
Yeah.
and on that topic again, even larger marketplaces like Paytm, just like Amazon Flex, they're launching a service to track inventory of their bigger sellers. So they're using our warehousing solution to track the inventory of some of the sellers. So these are all very interesting use cases.
Yeah.
Now, I'll just take one or two of these examples. When the top part of all these are in, I mean, if you leave the Walmart out, Action, Wildcraft, Red Tape are all Indian customers, but Shoemart is an interesting example. Shoemart is one of the largest retailers in Asia, and they are the largest retailer in Philippines. Mall of Asia is possibly the biggest mall in Asia.
You're right.
Now, Shoemart, in spite of being so big, when they stepped to do online, their first choice was to trial selling on Lazada. And so it's quite interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So they essentially
That was
are
the first thing they were
they're the
doing.
Reliance of Philippines.
Right.
I mean, that's the closest equivalent I can think of.
Right.
Yeah, and every big brand going into Philippines, the first choice is to talk to a Shoemart. There are a couple of other large groups, but Shoemart is definitely the business group they talk to, and they go and trial out on Lazada. And once that succeeded, what they did was to take each of the brands for whom they have stores. Now they have come up in a model where they have selling on stores, obviously, which they continue. They're creating their own portal and selling on their portal, but Lazada is a clean channel. So it's almost like a common, he's one person who is common across all their banners, all their brands, all formats. Right. So I think that tells a story. Now again, we are helping them do omni-channel there, but it's actually interesting. So the other thing which they're doing, which is possibly something which may happen here too. The Mall of Asia and other malls which they own, what they're doing is they're taking the items in each of the tenant and publishing that data into a marketplace. Okay. So it's almost like Shoemart is creating they're taking the Mall of Asia, there's a Mall of Asia marketplace where all the tenants of Mall of Asia, their products are being published and customers can shop. Then you give the options of pick up from store, means that's what they want to do first, so that there's more traffic to the store. But I think further down, they'll definitely start offering deliver at home and things like that. Yeah. So it's interesting. So every property mall has to look at ways in which they can value add to their customers. And that's something which could happen in India too. Yeah. I mean, I'm not knowledgeable enough. Have you seen any examples of that in India?
Till now I have not, probably. It might be there, but I have not experienced.
But that's, what do you think, Gayatri? That's something which can happen in India?
It's actually being done, at least put into trial by a couple of, so for example, Dial, which is the Delhi Airport team, has already launched an application for Dial itself, and they are engaging conversations with all the people who are selling in the airport system to log in there to sell their products, so that a customer may want to buy and pick up at the airport when they're there. So they're trying to facilitate the entire consumer purchase process, and they're already in process of doing that. So yes, very possible. So if the airport is doing it, I can definitely see and envision that the malls will soon be getting onto the bandwagon.
Well, talking of airports, of course, it could be even interesting to see if they can track who is actually buying, and if they can actually then do analytics to see which kind of retailers should be there in the airport, so that they can be more revenue and products designed to what people want to buy.
So it's quite interesting how this entire space is developing. The whole shopping premise itself, during the travel shopping premise, is also developing beautifully at this point in time.
Okay, now we spoke about online retailers setting up stores and the challenges. From an offline retailer, other than the technology piece, in terms of processes and in terms of people, in terms of the DNA, do you see any challenges there?
Yeah, so basically organization design is one of the challenges I can very clearly see.
So should they be bringing in experts from the online world?
Yeah.
In terms of peppering some of the individuals there?
You're right. So basically organization thing, structures, the culture of the organization, the whole thought process actually is a biggest deterrent.
So how do you do it? Do you have 7 golden rules to do it? I'm sorry.
Maybe three. But you know what? This is a very, very challenging situation for most of the retailers.
Yeah.
Whether it's a small one or a bigger one. So, we talk to pretty much across the scale. So now we've got smaller ones who are on Diecard. They're worried that even if it is such a simple platform to use, do I need to train my people? Do I need to make sure that they're punching at the right price? Do I need to make sure that they understand how to do promotions? And on the other end, there are big chains in India today, and I won't name them who are they, but you walk into their stores, you will actually see people punching on the pause, wrong information. They will actually be keying in phone numbers in the email IDs, they will be keying in wrong data, and I don't know how they then look at analytics. So it's a complete spectrum, but the most important thing here is solutions. The technology has to make sure that it stops you from doing it, it's easy for you to use it, and most important thing is then the people should be trained effectively to run it.
You're right.
Because without that, I don't think software is useful.
Okay, so now that we leave it at that. Possibly, I think we're running out of time, right? So we could possibly take questions from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have lots of questions from participants, Venkat. So the first question is for Gayatri. A gentleman wants to know what are the top 2 or 3 big trends around omnichannel in India?
Okay. I would think maybe accessibility, mobility is a big trend. So everybody, whether you're talking about desktop purchases, whether you're talking about now making applications available on your mobile, on your tablet, which completely eases the process of purchase. I think that's becoming really, really big. The other piece is the fact that most online players are now looking at offline setups, even if they're just smaller experience zones. Nykaa is a good example, and within India you will see Lenskart, you see Pepperfry, and it would be actually unimaginable for somebody like a Pepperfry to put up a small kind of setup to display an entire furniture range, but they're doing it, and they're doing it really beautifully. Same goes for offline players who are trying to now move online as well. And the biggest trend, 2 big trends I see actually is the entire customization or personalization using big data, because for an online player, you have such robust data, and therefore pushing the right kind of products to the consumer, having the right conversations with them is becoming very, very big. And I think the last thing would be fulfillment of an order or a purchase, which is also engaging with a lot of supply chain, warehousing processes, and getting that right becomes very important, because I think Vijay said this earlier, that the customer is very much looking at, I want that and I want it now, and that's where they're going. And it's therefore the brand's responsibility to make sure that they're delivering to that expectation.
Thanks, Gayatri. Can we take the next one?
Sure. So the next question is, what software tools are available to track online and offline attribution?
What tools are available to track offline and online attribution?
Yeah, that's the question.
Well,
If we have an omni-channel solution, it is
It's easy, right?
It's easy, yeah. It's very easy. So you can have an attribute, this order is coming from web or offline, and then you attribute, that's it there. So it's out of the box.
But what kind of parameters do you track? I mean, if let's say, what kind of matrices will make sense? I'll just expand on that question. Yeah.
Okay.
So because I think orders from online, offline
Right.
is obvious. Attributes also, I think they're tools which are easily available.
Yeah, but then online you get basically more data around customer behavior, right? Offline, people are trying to basically have video analytics in stores and trying to see which part of the store people are visiting and liking, right? So it is not, again, from a customer perspective, it's nothing, but from a retailer perspective, we'll know which product is selling or people are looking into. But when you talk about customer behavior, customer personalization, knowing them more, online channel is a better one. always.
I think there's enough data offline
Yeah.
as well. But I think that's it's an interesting answer. But,
No, but then it is-
I'm telling. See, sorry, I'm interrupting there. But see, there are space and floor optimization
Sure.
solutions which tell you
Yeah.
which part of the store the person is spending time. In fact, if I go back in time, I remember we've done some consulting exercises where the price of the products as well. If you're at a level, if the Indian height is average is 5'9",
Mm-hmm.
the shelves at that height will have the most expensive prices.
No.
Then you design solutions of that kind through the space
Right.
optimization
Right,
software,
right, right.
and you know exactly where the customers are spending time. I think you do have solutions, but like you rightly said, I think from online there's more data.
Data, yeah.
The volume is more.
More, yeah.
And through that you have more information.
More insights, and
And-
you can basically optimize it better.
Correct.
Right.
I think
And
to
it-
that extent I agree. You want to say something there, Vijay?
No, I'm fine. I mean, I sort of allude to this point that I think in terms of technologies and tools, there are quite a few, but you got to make sure that technology is talking to each other.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of analytics that you can track online. You can use Beacon offline.
Offline.
You can make sure your technology, if they are talking to each other, you're able to track a customer not just online but also offline.
Offline.
You are clearly being able to interrupt and understand social conversations. There are tools that actually can help you track these conversations and be able to then send marketing to them, marketing materials, or you're doing
Campaigns and targeted promotions.
You can do a lot of
he's
things, but
taken the thing to the next level.
exactly. But I think what is important is to identify the right tools,
Yeah.
be able to tightly integrate them,
Yeah.
be able to leverage the data. Like I said, I mean, data is at the heart of it. You're not getting the data right, there is no point doing it. There is no point investing money at all in technology.
Right.
Data consistency of data.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got a very interesting question from Nupur Upadhyay. She wants to know what is the biggest challenge for starting an omni-channel platform for malls? Anybody?
That's an interesting one.
Vijay, would you like to respond to it?
Omni-channel platform for malls, right?
So, from a technology perspective,
yeah,
I mean,
platform.
give a
So
tech perspective.
I think let's understand from a mall perspective what's the thing that you need, right? I mean, in mall you're selling online, so you need a POS solution.
that's the
Yeah.
biggest challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm coming to that, right? So the point is, if you are selling on the shop, you need a POS solution. But what is also important, you need a solution that's talking to your inventory. There's a solution that's talking to your warehouse. And now you're talking about omni-channel, so you got to have a single inventory view, which is not just making sure that what you're selling online is also being updated here. And if you sold something from here, and you're actually updating online too. We've actually got a very classic use case of Vitamin Shoppe, which is one of our clients, and this is what we did. Maybe you can move to that slide, Venkat, where what we did was in Vitamin Shoppe, they did a omni-channel solution, and clearly I think that's the one, right? So what was happening is this is one of the biggest health supplement retailer in US, and they're doing phenomenally well when it comes to their store sellers, when it comes to creating sales online. Now, biggest challenge that they had was that when you were doing omni-channel, how do you make sure that their inventory is talking to everything? Now, a customer typically buys online, but he wants to go pick it up from a store. Now, when you're selling it online and you're showing that there is a product which is there and it's available in the store, it's very easy. You can just buy and go and pick it up from here. But what if it's not available? Now, do you say, oh, you know what, I can't offer you anything right now? No. So what we did actually for them was actually build a single inventory view for them, where not just the inventory from the store, but also the warehouse that can be seen. So we actually built an option where you can actually say ship to store. So gone are the days that you can just say buy online and pick up from store. Now you're also saying ship to store, where clearly there is a timeline given to a customer saying that, okay, now you can we'll ship to store in 3 days and you can actually come and pick it up from the store. So this actually solved a big problem, because with a lot of fast moving inventory, these are things that very quickly sell on stores. You want to make sure that inventory is real time. And then on the other side, we had customers who are regularly subscribing to these health supplements. We created a whole subscription model for them. Now you can actually sell them the whole year products, give them discounts, and the whole subscription actually works for them to be able to deliver to their house. You can go pick it up. The merchants and the retailers are able to manage their logistics better because they know this is all scheduled. So it's so well integrated now, but the whole solution that came before had to be built.
Yeah.
Just to add,
That's important.
So I have a viewpoint here. Basically, the most challenging part implementing this kind of a solution in a mall will be, let's say we have multi-brand, right?
And
each will have their own backend systems.
Backend and the POS systems will be different. So and trying to talk to each one of the POS will be very difficult. So if the mall owner can get into a standard POS, I think that will solve the problem for the mall. But I think it's not the easiest thing.
Yeah. So standardized POS plus the solution should be plug and play with all the solutions.
All retailers should
retailers.
work for everyone.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the biggest challenges to get the data in the mall.
Right.
Right. So we have a question from Shipra Singhal for Gayatri. Shipra wants to know what is the target audience of Nykaa and what is the top selling products and the AOV of the platform?
So
The average order value of the platform.
yeah, average order value at this point in time is sitting between 16 to 1700, and I would, from whatever data I have, I would think makeup pretty much contributes to over 60% of the sale. So I would think a lot of consumers are buying a lot of makeup, usually skincare or hair or personal grooming, personal care products. So within makeup also, from what we know, lipsticks sell the highest. So yeah.
And if I were to add that, two of our customers, Clovia and Pretty Secrets, have a lot of sales on Nykaa.
They do. Yeah, and as recently as about 8 months back, Nykaa did launch their private label brand, and I think it's one of a single, and it has risen to the top selling brand in the top 3 brands that sell on the website today. And I see that in the retail stores as well.
Thanks, Gayatri.
Right. Moving on, if a retailer, for example, TrueMart, sells on Marketplace, how does that qualify as omni-channel? Because the retailer doesn't really own the customer relationship. Can any one of you kindly explain?
See, the first thing to note is customers shop across channels. Okay, so what you're essentially doing, if a TrueMart sells on a marketplace, they are creating an additional channel to sell. Okay, now if TrueMart then works with one of the marketplaces strategically or two of the marketplaces strategically, and they're able to essentially work on a model in which the marketplace is giving them preferred attention, maybe through brand pages or through a page where all the products of TrueMart are cataloged, where the experience is created in such a way that you're actually shopping in a shop-in-shop model with TrueMart rather than with a multi-retailer kind of a page. That's one. The second thing is, if you're making things available on the marketplace, saying that, let's say somebody is shopping on, for example, taking TrueMart, I don't know about TrueMart, but let's say they shop on Flipkart, they must sell on Flipkart. If there is an option saying you can pick up these goods from 5-6 stores near your vicinity where TrueMart is present, then essentially what you're facilitating to the customer who anyway shops on Amazon or Flipkart is to say that, okay, you can buy TrueMart goods here, but you're also able to pick them up from the TrueMart stores at your convenience. So you're essentially creating a part of the omni-channel journey there. But one has to look at this as a method to increase sales, and at the same time building in your brand promise or retailer customer promise, you're building into the overall ecosystem. Does that make sense?
You're right, and you are there where customers are actually, right, for them. So that is also one of the things of omni-channel, right? You are available for customers on all the channels where the customers are.
Correct.
Yeah, technically, the question is correct that they might
Yeah.
not get the customer data,
Exactly.
but from a customer perspective, so this is from a retailer perspective, you will not get the data. But from a customer perspective, if there is a brand and it's available all across, understand the convenience, right? So omni-channel still is present.
So, and of course, one should not be too technical about the omni word, right?
You're
That's
right.
really what it is there.
You are right.
And we got to find ways in which we are engaging with the customers across channels,
Yeah.
because goes back to the first statement I made, they don't care.
Yeah, they
Right?
don't care. They don't
They
care.
just want
It's got to be
convenience.
consistent. I think
Yeah.
what is omni-channel, people need to understand it's not really the solution. It is about creating an experience. It's about giving a very consistent customer experience across channels. It is just that. I think it's very important for both the retailers and e-tailers to
No,
understand.
the
is that
question
when you're
there
getting
then
the data-
goes that in a marketplace, do you get that
You
kind
will
of an
not, you will
experience?
not, you will
Okay,
not.
but you
Right,
could.
but-
Means if you're working strategically, well, I know that that's exactly what eSmall is trying to do, saying we will create a brand experience in our
You are right.
marketplace kind of thing, right?
Right.
Instead of, this is not a store where you get thousands of products, what you get very, very special treatment.
You're right.
Right? So
You're
that's,
right.
but
It's an
again, I
experience that they're trying
think
to
you
create,
can
right?
work with what I have seen is many top brands are working strategically with limited number of marketplaces, and they're working on creating brand pages, putting their catalog in. They're actually trying to make sure
In
that.
fact, we right now we are live on Flipkart.
Now there goes.
Yeah,
There.
so we are live on Flipkart, and you can you can search Z Store there, and basically it's a.
So do you get data from Flipkart?
No.
There, finish.
Yeah.
That's
See,
ends of story.
no, and also
You
I
can
have
search
some
Z Store on
customers-
Flipkart.
That's
No,
exactly the point, right? So the data will only come to
See,
you
Yeah.
if you selling on your channel.
You're right.
I have a few clients who sell on marketplaces. When even if you go to their website, when you're closing the transaction, it actually finishes in the marketplace. It's beautifully
Yeah,
integrated.
you're right.
And people don't know that it is actually a page
Yeah.
on the marketplace. It's not their own website.
You're right.
So, but yeah, that's really where it is.
So we have time for one last question.
Sure.
So we are talking about buy anywhere, get anywhere. But what about returns synchronization in all this scenario? Venkat, sir,
Again, a
quick
true
response
omni-channel,
from-
you should be able to
return anywhere.
return anywhere.
Anywhere.
I mean, it's not easy because of the systems.
Yeah.
I think
But
retailers
actually,
who have
but
the-
it will be very easy, right? Understand someone ordering online and going on a shop and basically checking the product right there, right? So automatically returns will reduce. Actually, it will
The
help.
question is different.
Question
Okay,
is-
let me explain. I go to a Watson store
Yeah.
in a particular locality and I buy it, and I don't like it when I go home.
Yeah.
There is a Watson store next to my house.
Can you
I
return
just go
there?
and return it there.
You're right.
The guy says, sorry, this is not our stock. You'll have to go to the store where you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Watson does it, please. I'm just giving an example. But can I do it? Means ideally I should. I should be able to
You're
return
right.
it. I should be able to drop it off at some checkpoint.
Right.
There should be it should be convenient for me to do it. A true omni-channel journey, it should be.
It should be.
So that's the power of omnichannel.
Channel,
I
yeah.
think if you're able to put that together very rightly, I don't think that should be a problem.
Systems are important there. If you have real-time view of inventory and you're able to integrate well, I
Yeah.
think these can be done.
Yeah.
Gayatri, what are your thoughts on this?
I think in an ideal world, it should be made possible because that's what completes the customer experience. However, most times the systems are not integrated into catering to these kind of requirements. A lot of times within the retail setup, they are not even catered to taking a return, and you'll see that on most receipts, no exchanges, no returns, because the systems are not geared for these kind of experiences. So we need to, I think, work on that to deliver a complete experience to the customer so that it's possible for them not only to return, but also to shop online and be able to pick up in store or vice versa.